Last time on the SNES Geek Show.
Play it, as there are two options for gameplay, traditional or advanced. The first mentioned is as it says. Look at the bar down below to determine length and push the X button when the meter matches up with the benchmark and shoot. Advanced is the same as traditional, like the playstyle, but the fact that it's completely different. In this style, you see the cursor within a circle, which is seen here on the screen. Hit the button while in the middle when it's green. It's time.
Remakes, either you love them or hate them, and now after being 11 years on this platform, it is finally time to do a proper remake. And I'm going to remake an episode that I did back in 2019, way back when the SNES game got a soft reboot. And it is Meet the Robinsons for the PlayStation 2. And so, this game opens up with the CG cutscene coming from most licensed games at the time, with a pretty good looking introduction. This actually looks like it could be the pilot for a Meet the Robins TV show, but as many of us know, it is a movie. So this cutscene follows Wilbur Robinson, a time traveling boy who has traveled to the past to take a photo with an historical figure. Strangely enough, he doesn't actually play any Fortnite whatsoever. And then Wilbur's an idiot and accidentally sets off the trap system in this entire pyramid by pushing a switch on the floor. And it's now your job to get out. And now the only way to get out is to play The Legend of Zelda. I'm sorry, I meant Meet the Robinsons. In terms of originality, this game has no real identity gameplay-wise. It is just like The Legend of Zelda. You're jumping off ledges, you're pushing switches, you're solving puzzles. Is there anything this game has on its own as a game? Yeah, this game has some things on its own. It has Wilbur Robinson. That's something that Zelda doesn't have. And it also has CG cutscenes. That's something that's not in Zelda games. But it also have real colorful graphics. Yeah, sure, you may not see it much at this very moment since you are trapped in a pyramid, but the problem is when you actually get out in the environment as well as the actual starting place where you live, then you will see some rather impressive colors and graphics. And so one cutscene later and you are actually now back in the Robinson house. And not only did you get the final picture of this historical figure, you were even able to change the future. Or as Wilbur Robinson put it, maybe someone else who looks like him did so. And then your dad informs you that he's going on a business trip for a few days and you are not allowed to touch the time machine. But as the rascal Wilbur Robinson is, he's going to do so without regrets. So anyway, the first bit of this mission to gain access to the time machine through the garage is to talk to your mother Franny, who's telling you that the code to the garage has been changed, and it's your entire mission to go find out what it actually is. You know, you just keep on spamming on the keypad until you actually find it, but I guess there needs to be a reason for gameplay to actually happen. So now comes the very strenuous task about getting the code to the garage, and there's over 10 tasks you have to do before you can actually get to it. So first thing you have to do is to get to your cousin Laszlo's lab so that you could actually know that you have to travel down to a part of the Robinson basement to get an alloy so that you can make a scanner. Now, like I said, the graphics are pretty damn impressive, the facial expressions for the characters is good, as well as the environments, which are pretty colorful. However, the graphics take a pretty different way when it really comes to animation. They're terrible, or at least when you're actually jumping or standing on a ladder. So stiff. But hey, at least this has decent elevator music. Okay, forget what I said. I thought you would have to find alloys in order to build a scanner, but no, it turns out that you're supposed to find a disassembler, which you find after going through this puzzling maze. With the disassembler, you can now collect components by simply shooting at everything which looks fragile. And when they break, you gain components, which you can then use to not only build new gadgets, but also gain access to cheat codes. The further you get in the game, the more amazing that cheat codes become. And so after gathering your components, you can now go to the transmogrifier and then transform all these components into something that you will use now, which just so happens to be a scanner. And now it's time for you to head back to the garage code to find out who changed it.
Okay, so now there are way too many things happening for me to actually explain them all in detail. So I'm just going to quickly go through them. First off, you find out that Grandpa who changed the garage code, my mouth, someone else did it, and you have to go game back his teeth if he's going to explain it. Now you have to then go to your mom, friend, insisting in front and scan them all so you can get their teeth. And then you will find out that Grandpa don't know who changed the garage code. And then you have to go out to the Robinson yard, and then you have to travel through a very special maze to reach your Uncle Art's spaceship. And this is an obstacle course which forces you to run in it through a little ball. And if you're actually able to get a high score, then you will get a collector's item. This is actually a rather bit difficult to do. Yeah, sure, the controls works well enough, but if you're actually going to do this under time pressure, yeah, you are naturally not going to want to spare any seconds whatsoever. You need to get it as fast as possible, and there are several points where you can undoubtedly be stopped dead in your tracks, so you can not get access to that figure. Believe me, I know, I have felt many times when I've been doing this before. Okay, so now you have to zap these pink creatures known as Zamsets, which you have perhaps been seeing, especially in the ball maze, and you will stun them by using the charge ball glove in a game known as Charge Ball that is, I guess, popular within the Meet Robinson's universe. And what is it, you might be asking? Well, it's basically Breakout with a twist. Is it fun? Well, if you like Breakout, then yes. You will use your charge ball glove in order to actually split them up into 3 and then catch them all. Okay, so you just gather all of the Zamsets and then talk to your Uncle Art about it. And when it is eventually delivered, you learn that he didn't really give a care about the garage code, and he tells you to ask Aunt Billy, who's in the train room. Yeah, you remember that rampaging train? Well, it turns out that it has been malfunctioning, and it's your job to actually put it back on the right track. Why can't Aunt Billy do it? She's the train conductor after all. I have no idea, but hey, like I said, there needs to be a justifiable reason for gameplay to happen. And so that reason is to teach you how to manually aim, and you're doing so simply by pushing the R1 button, and then you are basically aiming with one of the analog sticks, and then you are marking all of the targets and then releasing the buttons so they will all light up at the same time. Do this four times on a set of 4 sets of 3, and then you will be done. Okay, so the next bit involves you having to go into Uncle Gaston's cannonball room, but of course it's locked, so you have to create a key somehow. Process over and over again. This time you will not be finding a disassembler, you will instead find that component. And now, after finally creating that key, we are on the final stretch of the tutorial. And the last thing that we have to do is to beat Uncle Gaston at his own game. And despite being a strange genius, he has actually invented a way for us to actually test our crouching dodging mechanic. And you're doing this by pushing the aim button and then simply push the X button or to steer yourself in different directions. Out of everything that you could have practiced on, and it chose to build cannons that fires meatballs. And now here comes the cutscene, which is like every episode 13 of almost any Yu-Gi-Oh anime, where a major plot point or character is supposed to be set up, which then sets the entire game story. Up to this point, it has not really been much of a story established, but now that it is, we can finally talk about it. And so Wilbur is about to go to the time machine, but his mom reminds me of throwing the trash, so he throws the trash into the trash can, but then he's going to grab a camera, says he forgot it at first, and then when he's grabbing the camera, the bowler hat guy takes the time machine, and it's now your job to travel down to the Robinson basement and to grab the back at time machine and then travel back in time to the time period where the bowler hat guy is, but where he is, you don't know. And now that you enter, the tone begins to twist. Now, it's no longer just fun and games, now it's dangerous games. Robots attacking you, a robot receptionist, robot guardians, everything that you wouldn't expect has finally happened. You are now an intruder in the Robinson basement. Now your puzzle solving skills are finally being put to the test. You know, the one that you are being taught while you were in the very first level, that ancient Egypt one. And so after performing a little task, to actually get the robot nurse to help you to pass through, you are now golden. The way you open it up is the first you have to zap that power box, and then you have to zap it again with your power glove. Oh wait, I meant charge ball glove. You cannot actually pass through these lasers. There's like an invisible wall right in front of them. You have to simply climb up on these big vases and then jump on the rails. Why would a big basement have a rail like this? I have no idea. Is it really that tough to actually get across, or is this simply just not a safety measure? Now you are finally in the final stretch. That door over there, that's the one to the time lab. And you're getting closer and closer and... what? It's a fake? Now you have to find a different way in, and that way is through a force field. Now you have to actually use your power of charge ball glove in order to fend off against enemies. The search bot will notice you, and now you have to fend off against enemies, which are all based around capturing you in a ball. These robots, you cannot actually die like a game over. You are simply falling to the ground fainted, and then you will have to start from an earlier point. Now at this point the enemy begins to show its cracks, as it is a rather bit slow to actually use it, but you have to constantly be on the move in order to not get captured. In other words, it does become a bit more difficult, although it's still manageable if you simply just know which buttons to push and how to actually dodge. And after an easy puzzle being solved and you saving manually, something you have to do by the way, you are now shimmying along an edge, and you see the time machine in the other room behind, although you cannot actually break the glass to get it. Then in the next room, you have to beat a set number of robots in order to actually open up the next section. This can be a bit tedious. Yeah, sure, it's not that difficult when you're fending off against one robot. When more are showing up, you simply don't have the time and reaction in order to actually dodge all of them. This is just one section where you are going to have to start over. That was at least the case for me, and I played through this game several times before. So this is just a taste of what the game could offer. This is as far as I'm going to show you. If you actually want to play this game and see further, then I won't stop you. This game is pretty cheap to get for any console out there. There's GBA, Nintendo DS, PS2, Wii and Xbox 360 and PC as well. If you don't really care about playing a Zelda clone with a Disney skin, then this is one worth recommending. It is time to put away this game on the shelf and maybe revisit it again someday. But not today, not tomorrow, nor this week. When? Who knows?